This is Twit.
So what's Black Shark? I've actually never heard of this brand.
Look at this gaming laptop of a phone.
Oh, yeah. That is a gamer phone.
That is
By the way, not all gamers, present company included, likes this kind of aesthetic, just FYI.
Now, there are a couple of reasons for this aesthetic. You can see this X, almost X, design here. This is actually where all the antennas are. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh.
So if you were going to hold it in a certain fashion, there are certain parts of the phone that are going to be exposed, so the network connectivity is always high quality.
Okay, that is...
Okay. All right.
I like that.
Right. There's also, when you have your fingers down right here, it doesn't, okay, they made a big deal about this. I don't think it's that big a deal, but I can see why. There's also a bit of a rise right here, so you can pinch your fingers in, and it feels a little bit better.
Little grippers.
A little grippy. Now, the whole point of this, and this is also another interesting bit about the global version of the Black Shark 2, this is a Xiaomi-backed phone. They're investors. Oh. Xiaomi are investors, but this is its own brand through and through.
Oh, okay.
So in-display fingerprint reader works really well. Goes right in. Stock Android. Look at this. This is a Pixel launcher. I don't know how they did this, but they got it.
Yeah, I was about to say because I saw that the screen, always on display, whatever.
Yeah.
It looked like the Pixel one, but that's the Pixel UI, and you've got the shelf to the left, and
you even have the and then I can. Well, I don't have any recent items, but I can.
What version of Android is it running?
This would be Pie.
Pie. Okay.
This is straight up Pie. Yeah. Now that way the user experience from on the global device is going to be very familiar. But there's this little toggle right here that looks a bit like the alert slider on the OnePlus. Here's where the gaming stuff comes in.
Okay.
Bam.
Yeah.
Shark space.
If you look down there, 417 megabytes freed up. This dumps the entire memory, so you're only using this as a gaming phone. And there's also this button here that will stop all notifications and calls.
That's a game mode.
That is,
and it just pulls in games you download. So if I were to put Animal Crossing, it would free up all the memory for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It all goes back to Animal Crossing.
And I have a lot of them. I'm the type of actually, you know what, Flo? Do you finish the games? Are you a game finisher? I'm not.
I am a game finisher.
Okay,
yeah.
These are all games that I'm still like a third in. Yeah. I'm that gamer.
I'm one of those people who like starts a game and sees it until the end. I'm very I'm a serial monogamous gamer.
I think any fans who've been following me since the Android Authority days, they know that I've been on Final Fantasy IX for like 6 years. But, so
it's gonna be like the whole library will be on the Switch before you finish it.
Pretty much. Now here's one more thing. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this case on here.
Oh.
I'm gonna go and throw that case on there, and actually I didn't have it out yet. Give me a sec.
Oh wait, there's more.
Well, he
wait,
gets whatever
there's
he's
more.
gonna get. I'm gonna hold on to the phone and see, and that's got a little bit of weight to it.
You know, if you put wheels on the bottom of that, it looked like a race car.
Now, why are there connectors on the sides of this case?
Interesting.
Because intellectual property be damned.
Yeah, clearly.
No way.
Switch controller type gamepad.
Oh, I want this for every phone I own.
Now here is where like I am closer to the full review treatment on this. I have been using this primarily as a gaming phone. I'm going to use.
That's the point. They want you to do that.
Yeah, well, I'm going to use PUBG as the example.
Okay, that's a good example.
PUBG is really the best example of how these gamepads work, and by that I mean the gamepads don't work for everything, and it's going to piss you off.
Yeah.
You already see that there's a touchpad here.
Yeah.
This emulates swipes on the screen. You have all of the buttons down here that you can map to all of the on-screen controls. If your game does not have every on-screen control on the screen, then you're SOL. Because you need to map it to these buttons. And
so
PUBG,
the first time you run a game, you need to do some setup.
Yes,
and like,
but there are so many games out there.
You've already set it up, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if I were to, let me press that so you can see like where the actual buttons lie once I get in here. See this virtual D-pad over here?
Yeah.
That's movement, right? So I have it there. So if you were to look at it, it's there. See that blue one?
And do you have an analog style control of that? You hit it slightly and you'll go slower?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So a little slower
Angle
aim.
the phone toward you just a
I'm
little
so
bit.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
Now this is the problem. In games like, let's say, Grand Theft Auto or Bully, those are Rockstar games, but in those games, this D-pad is not there. And when you set it to that area, it's going to be very clunky. So the game, it's still proprietary in the sense that you need a very specific control layout to map the control layout. So it is very annoying. That means that emulators are going to be like championed on this phone. The emulators are going to be great. Games like Animal Crossing, you're just going to take these controllers
that's
off.
that's a touch
It's a
game
touchscreen
anyway. But
there are just going to be times when you want touchscreen. So,
but I do think about like how many times I've bought Sonic the Hedgehog like on Android.
now to their credit, they know that the Gamepad is very highly sought after. But if you can't use it, they've made it so that the touch latency is as low as possible. It's even faster than the iPhone, and there are also macros. So if I were to swipe down here. We can head to the gamer studio.
That's a real gamer feature, like to have
kidding.
macros.
Yeah. Here's some performance modes as well. So if I were to change the performance modes, this could actually overclock the system. And the phone can get really warm under that.
I'm sure.
Trying to think of what the other, where is it
be
at?
careful.
Oh, Master Touch, here you go. So these two areas, the two halves, you can set macros to these if you press really hard down on it. So that's your 3D touch.
There we go.
And you
That's
can
what we were talking about
program it.
earlier.
Yeah. So pressure settings. So you can map that if you wanted to. I don't use it because I can't find anything that's useful for it. And I'm gonna go ahead and oh, there you go.
It's all right. It's easy to
But yeah,
do in the studio.
PUBG is very much the best example, and it is the game that they showed on stage. So it's clear that they knew what demographic they were going for, because this is the most popular game in China.
They're going for folks who play first-person shooters or these sorts of games.
But even then,
on
like
their phone.
esport types.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now-
And that's big. That's very big.
There are probably, they're right there in the chat, if you don't mind. You have an advantage with a game view that wide. You also have an advantage with these controllers. If you use a third-party controller in PUBG on any other Android phone, because this is system level. That's why I'm not banned.
Oh, really?
Oh, right.
This is cheating. This is straight up cheating right here.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm level 20, and it only took me like a week to get there.
So the controllers, obviously, you're talking about the mapping on the screen in order to get them to work. Can they also work as just straight up Bluetooth for games that support it?
No.
No.
Yeah, see, because they're not going to register to this phone the way that like an Xbox controller or a gamepad do.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yes.
That's a big bummer.
They're very specific, and when you get it to work, it's great, but it's not for everything.
Yeah.
That's the one problem.
I mean, that would help fill the gaps.
Absolutely.
So much better.
And that's the thing, like gaming on Android has that one problem. The software can never catch up with the hardware because the hardware keeps changing.
Yeah.
And the hardware is not made by the people who code Android.
Exactly. And they're not, and also the hardware is not made by the people who make the game.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
there's so much fragmentation when it comes to mobile gaming. How do you bring all those moving pieces together? This is how you do it.
Yeah. This is probably the best example of what a gaming phone should look like. That it dumps the entire memory so that it becomes a gaming machine, that it has controllers for games that you can map it to, and everything about it. Also, just in the same way that you get a gaming laptop. Oh, go for it. We've lost Jason.
Jason wants to play.
I want to play.
We've lost Jason.
I just remember the old what was it, the Sony Xperia years ago that had the play with the controller that would slide out. And I was like, I want that. I'm going to do emulation with that, and I never got one.
So left shoulder is aim, and right trigger is shoot.
Oh, okay.
So in the same way that you would get a gaming laptop to use Adobe Premiere Pro better, this has that quality. Because this is an esports centric phone, the microphones are fantastic.
Ooh.
So vlogging with this phone has been pretty fun too, even if the camera quality has not been great. But the audio has been great. So I've been doing IGTV segments with it. So yeah, the microphones are great. The network connectivity is great because of all of the antennas. It's really,
And this works here in the US.
yes. It does work. You have to import it, but it does work because they did an official launch in France where there's actually a very large esports contingency. Yeah, so Black Shark, and also
So they went specifically after their market.
Exactly. There have been. That just shows what's going on there.
I'm not sure. Something.
Crouch.
I just want to shoot instead. I'm pointing.
Trigger, not. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Shoulder and trigger. Sorry, I thought Jason was a gamer.
No. Not really.
And you know what? All of this, Snapdragon 855, like a lot of storage, a lot of RAM. It's definitely got all the bells and whistles you would want. Again, Xiaomi-backed products are sold at cost. This is a $575
what?
phone.
Yeah. Wait, how much do these controllers cost?
Another 100.
That's not bad, actually.
Now, can you pop them out and use them like on a Switch?
Actually, you can, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, because the Switch will do Bluetooth,
you
right?
can put the phone down and lay back. Yeah, so you can run around with it. I've done that on planes.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's pretty interesting. I got to say, have you played with other gaming-focused Android devices? And
the Razer, which they did finally come out with the Raiju Mobile, which was supposed to be their like controller for the masses. Again, same problem. It doesn't work with every game. And the moment someone who wants to try mobile gaming runs into a game that the controller doesn't work on, they're checked out of mobile gaming entirely. Yeah, which is a travesty because there's so much good stuff out there.
That's true. It's made me check out because I'm like, this is impossible. I can't do this. I have long nails. Gaming on the screen is not a thing I can do. I prefer a controller.
I just today pre-registered for Call of Duty Mobile. The titles are coming. Like they're coming. So I have to say it's not like mobile gaming should be a pariah. And I really hope that we can bridge those gaps, which is why I like the Snapdragon announcement. I love this phone, you know, and we need to see more specialization. That way we can actually get some differentiation.
Just because it's not PC gaming, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have a place.
Oh, I'm about to die.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's okay.
Also, that one's probably a bot. I should be dead by now. That one's a bot. I'm gonna go and let that go, or rather, maybe I'll just enact revenge.
Why don't you get some revenge? There we go. Now we finally got some other people on screen. All right, there we go. Cool. The Black Shark 2 is the device. That's really interesting. Thank you for bringing that in.
Yeah.
That was very different.
Very much a Xiaomi-backed device. Just one quick story. At the event, they gave Richard Yu, I'm sorry, not Richard Yu. Richard Yu is Huawei. They gave the CEO of Xiaomi a super special version of the phone that no one else has.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was the biggest
like
flex.
Gold-plated? Or?
It was like white ceramic platinum or something like that. And I had a front row seat.
He just threw it in his closet. He's like, oh, yeah, great.
Yeah, just a grab and a bow. It was just like, thank you. I will go now.
I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I have tons of these in my house.